Morning, ladies and gentlemen, out there on Facebook and YouTube, and people just sitting around looking for a topic or bringing a topic forward from an experience that a person has had. Yesterday was a great day. We had a coffee break, and two of us guys that worked together for a number of years had coffee together, and we talked about very interesting things. And the one thing that came up was the fact that as we age, our circle of friends gets smaller. And it's because of the aging process and people passing away. So I'm sure you find the same thing where you've worked in a company where there's been maybe a couple hundred people around you, or maybe 30 or 40. And now you look around, you're in your late 80s, and all of a sudden your circle of friends is down to a small, maybe 2, 3, or 4. You've got some people that are spread out, but the people you see on a regular basis, the circle gets smaller. And if you think about it, let's go back to the day we were born. We were actually born, my mom and dad were the ones who created us, and then you were born either in a hospital or at home. And in the early days, a lot of the farmers, their wives, babies were born at home by a neighbor lady who would come over and give them a hand, midwife type. So when you come into the world, you had your mom and dad that created you, and then you came into the world, and in some cases there would be two people there. There'd be your wife and you, and there would be a midwife, or it might be a nurse and a doctor. So your circle of friends at that point were your mom and dad, and your healthcare nurse, and maybe a doctor. So if you think about it, all through life, your circle of friends as you go to school increases to the size of the classroom, and then as you age, you increase the size of your friendship by a circle of friends at your school. And then as you age out, you have a job, and you meet a bunch more people, so your circle of friends gets larger. In some cases, it might go up to 100 or it might go to 1,000. But then as we age, we retire, and sadly, people pass on. Now, if we're lucky and we live to a good old age, that means to say that the people that we worked with all those years and associated with have probably a lot of them passed away. In our particular case here locally, we're looking at about 80%. 75 to 80% of them are gone. Or they're in care homes where they no longer can get out and have a good time. So what happens when we get down to the very end now, we're going to go back to about the same amount of people. So you're going to be in a hospital bed probably, unless you die on the road or on a job, or you don't wake up one morning, so you'll be the only person there. And then if your wife has passed away, you're the only person, and if you don't wake up in the morning, that's it, game over. But if you're in the hospital, if you're in a care home, you might be in a hospital, and you'll have a nurse keeping an eye on you, and at the very end, there'll be a nurse and a doctor. So you're down to two people. Oh, you might have a son or a daughter or something like that sitting with you. But at my dad's end of life, he had, it'd be his wife, it'd be my stepmom, and a doctor, and the oldest daughter. So the circle of people is very close near the end to what we had when we were born. So all the people we associated with over those years, that total thins out by attrition and also by people dying. So if we're fortunate and we live to an older age, we wind up being one or two people out of a circle of maybe 100 or 1,000. So we have to give thanks for all the time that we've known people, and all the friendship and the ideas that we picked up along the way, and the funny stories and stuff like that. And the other thing that came up yesterday at coffee was the fact that if a person has a pet, it can be a cat, or it can be a dog, or it can be a horse, or whatever, but all through maybe, or not all through your life, but for a portion of your life, you might have had a pet for 14 or 15 years. Now that pet, whether it be a horse or a dog or a cat, becomes part of our lives and becomes part of our family. So should our wife pass away and we still have a pet, now that pet is the animal. We might take it out for a walk on a daily basis or take it for a drive or whatever, but that person or that pet becomes part of our family. So when it comes down to the bitter end and the pet ages out and it gets to the point where the pet, so you're taking it for a walk every day and you're getting exercise and the dog is having a good time and life goes on. But if our pet gets run down before we do, then sometimes we get to the point where we have to put the pet to sleep. That's a tough one to call. And we've had several pets over the year, but they've died off earlier. But it's a tough call because the pet is keeping you company, and you're talking to the pet. Probably come on, have something to eat, and you have a little relationship. And come on, let's go for a ride, and jump in a car, and take them down to the park and walk around for a while, or take them out of the country and walk around. And that pet becomes part of our life. It becomes almost like a family member. So when the day comes that they can't walk anymore, or they go blind and can't hear anymore, it's very difficult because rather than keeping them going in a crippled mode where they can't walk anymore, they're dragging their feet around, it's a tough call. So I understand how tough it is to do. It's like pulling the plug on something you love. And with the right to die with dignity, we have that choice now to pass on to our children, where we say, okay, when I get to the point where I can't walk and can't talk and I've got Alzheimer's so bad I don't recognize the people, you give them an approval out of the MAID program to pull the plug on our life. And I look at death as a little different now because I have my wife of 55 years passed away, and the doctor told her one day in my presence that, I'm sorry, I can't fix your wife, and a specialist can't fix her, and she's too old to do a heart transplant or a lung transplant. So the question was, how long has she got? And he said, maybe 3 months. So she said to me and the doctor, she said, look, if I ever have a heart attack, I don't want you to start my heart again. I want you to let me die because my life is no good anymore because I can't walk long distances. I have a heck of a time to go to the bathroom, and I'm coughing up blood and running out of air all the time. I've got oxygen, but half of the time I can't breathe properly, and we've got the biggest pump now we can have to supply oxygen, but I'm still coughing up blood, and my breathing system is no good anymore. And we can't blame it on anybody. It's just the way things are. So she gave us authority to pull the plug on, and that's exactly what happened. One day at the hospital, she was there, and her eyes got really blue, and I said to her, are you feeling okay? She said, I got a really bad pain in my chest. And she pointed her chest, and she folded over in a wheelchair, and I tried to set her up, and she wouldn't wake up. Rolled her in the emergency ward, and the doctor said she'd had a massive stroke. So they wanted to try to bring her back to life, and I said, nope, I'm sorry. My wife has said no, she doesn't want to come back to life. We have to do it. I said, no, we don't. My wife told me to tell you on her behalf that if she had her heart stop, that she didn't want to come back. So we did that because it was a promise, a death promise. And it's tough. It's tough to pull a plug on people, and it's tough to pull a plug on a pet too, because it's something that we've grown accustomed to, and we've developed a nice relationship, and we love the animal. So I just wanted to talk about the circle of life getting smaller and smaller as our friends age out. But the good news is this: if we're healthy, if we're able to walk and talk, there's seniors' homes locally, coffee shops locally, there's pubs locally where you can go down and listen to music, or go for a walk and meet some people. So God gives us a chance to fill in some of those slots. So we don't have to feel really bad. If we lose someone, yes, it's going to be a big hole in our life, but death happens for a reason. And the reason is, it takes that person out of their misery. No more pain and suffering, and they're way better off. And if you think about it under the big picture, we're better off too, because we've got all those beautiful memories we had over the years, the pictures and videos and the good times. So anytime we feel a little bit down, we can open up the folder and look at some pictures, or play a video. I'm very lucky because my wife is a musician, and I can play the video and hear her play guitar, play bass guitar. What a great time. So every time we lose somebody, remember, God has replaced that person with another person. But we have to go find them. We got to go find somebody and strike up a new friendship, whether it's play pool or whether it's play cards or whether it's just simply sitting around talking or over a cup of coffee or whatever. It's not going to be an exact replacement, because we're in a lifetime, like 55 years we had, you have all those memories of traveling and being here and raising your kids and all that good stuff. So, but God supplies us with another person, but we have to go get them. We have to get off our butts, go out and get some fresh air, some exercise, go down and meet them at coffee, or go down to the mall and meet some people down there. If you meet new friends, mix new friends, or reacquaint yourself with some old friends, and enjoy every moment as if it was the last. And really, life boils down to the fact that we never know when it's going to be our last day. It might be our last Wednesday, it might be our last Thursday, we never know. And if we don't wake up in the morning, that's okay too. And that's what I told my surgeon when I had a couple little hernias fixed. He had any questions? I said, I tell you what, I have my right to die with dignity forms made up. And two things are going to happen today. You're going to put me to sleep, and I'm going to heal up, wake up. I'm going to wake up and heal up. That's one option. And the other one, I might not wake up. And it's okay too, because I'm not afraid of death. So life is good, and it's all the way we focus our mind. But as we get older, it seems kind of quaint about losing friends, because the circle of friends gets smaller and smaller. Good friend of mine, Gordy Webb, I used to take him out for a coffee. And I phoned him up one day. I said, Gordy, can I pick you up today, go for coffee? Nope. He said, I'm not going to see anybody at all anymore. He said, I have chronic cancer, and he said, I'm probably going to be dead within a couple of weeks. And he said, I don't want people to see me, because he was starting to change. His whole facial thing was changing. He didn't want people to remember him in the bad shape he was in. So he was a good friend, and we respect him for making that decision, and I'm sure you people out there are making similar decisions to that one. And death is for a reason. It takes away all the pain and suffering from the person who leaves us, but it leaves all those beautiful memories of all the good things and the good times we had over the years. So we have to go back and relive some of those. We can't live in the past, but we can move our life forward with the memories of the good times we had, and be thankful and grateful for all the good times we had in life. And remember, God has replaced the person that died with another person, but we have to go out there and find him. Got to find a new friend or a group of friends that we can sit down and talk and joke and have a good time with. So have yourself a great day, and all the best to you. Bye-bye.